Imagine trying to rely solely on public charging for your electric vehicle. Sounds convenient, right? But what if I told you it could actually cost you over £1,000 just to drive less than 9,000 miles? That's exactly what happened to one UK owner of a Polestar 2 electric car. And his story raises some serious questions about the practicality and cost of owning an EV without a home charger. James G., known online as TikTok UK, shared his experience in a TikTok video that quickly caught attention. Living in a typical UK terraced house with no private parking spot, James had no choice but to use only public charging points for his EV. Over the course of a year, he logged nearly 8,956 miles, but ended up paying a hefty £1,194.56, about $1,613, for public electricity charges. That breaks down to around 13 pence, or 18 cents per mile. A figure James calculated right in his video. At first glance, 13 pence per mile might not sound outrageous, but here's where it gets controversial. Public rapid chargers in the UK can cost as much as 74p per kilowatt hour, significantly more than the 29p to 35p per kilowatt hour rate you'd pay charging at home during off-peak hours. For those who have the advantage of home chargers, especially with providers offering cheap overnight tariffs like Octopus Energy or Eon Next, the difference in price isn't just small. It could slice your charging bill by more than half. This example lays bare a truth many EV advocates quietly admit. Relying solely on public charging infrastructure often leads to a less cost-effective and sometimes frustrating experience. The Polestar 2 is not your typical budget EV. With over 400 horsepower and a premium price tag, running costs add up fast when you're forced onto pricier networks. This makes James's experience an eye-opener for prospective EV buyers without access to home charging. The conversations sparked by James's post reveal multiple sides of the debate. Some argued that hybrid vehicles, especially fuel-efficient ones, can cover the same distance for nearly half the cost. For example, a 70 mpg hybrid car would spend only about £677 to cover nearly 8,900 miles, based on the UK petrol price of roughly £1.40 per litre. This provokes an intriguing question. If hybrids can do the job more cheaply, why push so hard for a fully electric future? However, others quickly pointed out that owning an EV has its perks beyond fueling cost. Maintenance, for instance, is noticeably cheaper. Unlike petrol or diesel cars, EVs don't require oil changes, spark plugs, or air filters, and regenerative braking means brake pads last longer. Studies even suggest EVs can cost 40% less to maintain over their lifetime. So, when you factor in these savings, the bigger fueling bill might start to look less daunting. Yet, not everyone is convinced. Many EV owners share frustrations with public chargers, ranging from frequent breakdowns to inconsistent pricing and long waits. One user famously lamented the range anxiety replaced by charger anxiety, highlighting how stopping to wait or grapple with unreliable chargers adds stress and time overheads. These qualms are backed up by UK studies showing nearly 1 in 5 public chargers are unusable at any given time. What James's story really highlights is a growing divide in EV accessibility. If you're lucky enough to have a driveway and smart home charger, you enjoy affordable, hassle-free overnight charging and far less stress about running out of battery. But for renters or city dwellers, public infrastructure isn't just inconvenient. It's an expensive necessity that may hinder EV adoption. Watchdogs and government reports have flagged this gap repeatedly, warning that without major investment in community charging points, many will be left behind in the electric revolution. The UK government has pledged funding, £381 million through the Local Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Fund, to expand public chargers, but rollout has been patchy and slow, raising concerns about meeting ambitious 2030 targets. Even among enthusiasts, there's an awareness that relying primarily on public fast charging isn't ideal. These rapid chargers, while convenient, can degrade battery health over time and often have confusing, fluctuating pricing across different networks. Now, here's a provocative question. Is spending around £1,200 per year on charging an electric vehicle, like the Polestar 2, really unreasonable when compared to fueling a conventional car? UK statistics suggest the average driver pays about £1,051 annually for petrol, and £1,257 for diesel under typical mileage conditions. Another estimate points to an average family car's fuel cost as high as £1,435 per year. When you stack James's £1,194 against fuel costs for similarly high-performance gasoline vehicles like the Mercedes-AMG C43, which can burn through £1,800 worth of petrol annually, the electric option begins to look financially competitive. So, what do you think? Is the higher cost of public charging just a temporary growing pain on the road to mainstream EV adoption, or a sign that EVs without home charging remain a luxury few urban residents can truly afford? Should governments shift more funding into street-level chargers for renters, or are hybrids still the smarter choice for budget-conscious drivers? The debate is wide open, and your perspective matters. Share your thoughts and experiences below.